Hey Bayek, it's me Ian, and in today's video I'm looking at this. This is The Vampire Bat from 1933. I love this film. Yes, it may not be the greatest, but for a 1930s horror film, you can't help but just enjoy it. Really. I just loved it. It's only 63 minutes long, and that might give a clue about some of the background to this film. Rotten Tomatoes give it 67%, which I think is fair enough. The critics were quite critical, but on the other hand, they recognised, like particularly the actors involved, um, elevated this very much B movie. Now, it's written by Edward T. Lowe Jr. You always want a bit of Jr. there. And it's directed by Frank R. Strayer. Now, his career as a director went back to 1925 into the silent era. Films that he was known for were The Monster Walks, 1932. But he did, this is what he's really well known for, 14 films of the Blondie series. It was from 1938 to 1942. These were extremely popular serial films, and he did them. He did all them. So, well, why not? Now, the music, which was sort of some standard music they were able to nick, was by Charles Dunworth. Now, the reason I'll just go into a bit of the background to this film. It's distributed by Majestic Pictures. Now, Majestic Pictures were, in all terms, a low budget production company, and they were good at what they did. And in this film, they were able to get Universal sets from Frankenstein and the Old Dark House. These were pictures that Universal had released. So, in many ways, this is already a plus for them. It's got the look of a Universal film. And then, of course, what they were able to do is get a couple of really well established actors who were just they had a short time frame and were able to get them because they were waiting for their release of The Mystery of the Wax Museum, which was a big Warner Brothers film of 1933. So what they did, they rushed this into production while they were doing. It took quite a bit of while to do a lot of pre-production work. So they were able to get the two actors, Lionel Atwill and Fay Wray, which immediately gave the film even more credibility. And they were willing to do it. They were doing it, and so they could shoot it very quickly, and everybody was happy. Yes, and as I say, they got their film. Yes. So locations as well. They used Bronson's Caves, which has been used quite a bit before, which is a section of Griffith Park, Los Angeles, used for a lot of westerns, and it's a very recognizable area that was used. So, as I say, they were able to get the film out before the Mystery of the Wax Museum, which again helped, get the money from the box office. This was very astute marketing and distribution by Majestic Pictures. They did a good job, you've got to say, and it certainly does have a look of a Universal film, which you can't argue with that at all. So let's get into the cast now. The cast is really quite amazing for the time. We've got Lionel Atwell, who plays Dr. Otto van Nijman. His career goes back to 1918. So he was involved in the non-talking era, the silent films. But from the notable films he was involved in, listen to this: Dr. X, which we've come across before with Fay Wray, 1932. Mystery of the Wax Museum, 1933. So there he was. He came to do this film, even though they were waiting for Mystery of the Wax Museum to be released. He did Mark of the Vampire, 1935. Captain Blood, a pirate film, Errol Flynn, I think, 1935. And then, listen to this, Son of Frankenstein, 1939. He did The Hound of the Baskervilles, 1939. He did Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, 1943. And The House of Frankenstein, 1944. What films these are. And The House of Dracula, 1945. Wow! I love it. What a great collection of films to be involved in. And then, of course, we've got Fay Wray. I keep talking about Fay Wray. She's popping up as she does. What a star she was. She plays Ruth Burton. And as I say, her career started 1925 in the silent era. Dr. X, see, it's mentioned again, 1932, and The Mystery of the Wax Museum in those. But of course, what absolutely shot her to massive Hollywood stardom was, in that year, 1933, King Kong. And what a film to be still associated, still talked about today as one of the classic films. And there she is, Fay Wray. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. She was in Black Moon, 1934. It happened in Hollywood. Yes, I love that film, and that I've reviewed, of course, on this channel. 1937, brilliant. She was in The Cobweb, 1955. She was in Queen Bee, 1955, and Summer Love, her last film, 1958. Then we have got, now this actor, I can't believe the amount of interesting films he's in. It's Melvin Douglas, who plays Karl Brettenschneider. Yes, my German bites don't I? Career starts 1931. Woman in the Dark, 1934 film. The Lone Wolf Returns, 1935. He was in Good Girls Go to Paris. I love that title, 1939. He was in Two-Faced Woman, 1941. He was in The Sea of Grass, 1947. He was in Billy Budd, which does come up a few times, 1962. He was in Hood, which was a Paul Newman film, 1963. Hotel, which is a very interesting film. Hotel is looking at all the people in the hotel, 1967. I'm surprised that one doesn't get more looked at, because it's it's a very interesting film, Hotel. Then he was in The Candidate, 1972. He was in The Seduction of Joe Tynan, 1977. He was in Being There, 1979, which is Peter Sellers' last film before he died. Then The Changeling, horror film, 1980. And finally, his last film, so this is somebody who was working from 1931. In 1981, wow, his last film was Ghost Story. Wow, what a career! I've only just scraped the number of films he was in. I've just mentioned a few relatively. Wow, I mean, it's amazing when you see an actor. I mean, such a wonderful career. And then we've got Maud Eben, who plays Gussie Schnappenmann. And her career went back to 1918. And I think she's rather steals this film sometimes in her performance. She plays this hypochondriac character and has a certain comedy element to the film. But she's excellent in it. She was in, I say, her career went back to 1918. She was in Shanghai Madness, 1933, which happens to have Fay Wray in it. Yes. Then Colorado, a Western, 1940. And then Among the Living, 1941, which was a horror film. Yeah. And then last film was in 1947, and it was Mother Wore Tights, all right, 1947, they say, which starred Betty Grable. Wow, the legs, everything. Yeah, that's it. Hollywood. It's all there, isn't it? I think what an amazing cast to have that. It really is. So, you're saying, what is this film about? Well, the title might give you an indication, or does it? It's set in the village of Kleinschloss. Unfortunately, people seem to be dying of blood loss. And there happens to be 2 pin marks there. Oh, heck, that looks like vampires, doesn't it? And that's what the hysteria builds up. You've got this wonderful mentality that you get in these films that, it's so-and-so. Anybody who's a bit of an outsider, who's a bit weird, is obviously the person that's doing this. And it must be vampires. There can't be any other explanation but vampires. But of course, the answer is, in the end, it's not vampires. It's from a very different source. But it's still, in many ways, very sinister and evil, if you want to put it in those words. Yes. But that is the outline of the story, and it's got all the cliches. When I said universal, I meant that in other ways, not just the sets. You got the angry villagers with the torches going, and picking on some unfortunate person they say is responsible. You've got everything there, as you'd expect. The doctor, the police investigator. It's all there. And as I say, the eccentric character woman, played by Maud Eben, who plays this, I think she almost steals the film. She's so funny. This hypochondriac woman. I just think she's funny. I don't know why. But anyhow, must have been in the mood. But yeah, this film it's just so entertaining. You don't need to take it too seriously, and that's what I loved about it. And yet, it's a low budget film that it's pretending to be a Universal film, and it's got the class. It's there. They were lucky to get having those 2 lead actors, really elevate the film as well. So they were onto a winner with this B movie, and it was on cheap, save a bit of brass, aye, and do well and get it out before Universal or Warner Brothers in this case get out their film. You're onto a winner, and they were, and to be honest, you can really enjoy it. It's a great bit of fun, and it's good for that period because you learn a lot about the history of what was going on in this filmmaking. Don't forget, this is 1933. a lot of films are being produced now in the talking era at this time, and it's wonderful seeing how Hollywood was reacting and producing. The writers were getting out all these films that they knew the public liked. Also, this is pre-code as well. Pre-code, I mean, in 1934, the Hollywood Code came out, which was like the censorship. But this was out before. Though a lot of studios did kind of follow that code, there weren't the censorship problems that would happen in a 1934 coda. But yeah, it's an interesting era in the whole production of films, and it's so enjoyable. I'm really getting into some of these old films. You can't help but love them, and this one I absolutely loved. Yeah, and that's it. Yes. I said my copy I got on eBay. It's this. It's I don't know. It's been specially done by a company, and the transfer is actually fantastic. It's on a DVD. There was a Blu-ray version, but it was really very expensive, I thought. And I thought, no, the quality of what I'd heard was good enough on this. And it is. It's a DVD quality, and it's good. I don't mind having this. I do, obviously, me, I do prefer the cases and that. But I don't mind having this, and for £3, I think £3.49 it was, something like that. You can't argue with that. No. They've put on there's the poster which you've been seeing at the side there. Yeah, that's it. I better go now. I'll be going on and on. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We'll let you know when I put out any reviews and things that I do. Have a look on the playlists. You can see all the films I do, and I do TV series, bit of music and all that. But if you like this video, please give this video a like. If you give it a like, it gets it out to YouTube, and hopefully other people might enjoy it. And also, if you've got any comments, please put your comments down. I love to read your comments. I'll always answer them. And bye, that's it. So, all I gotta say is, I'll see thee again.